Okay, so well, here we have our first unit, our first class, okay? Today we are talking about basic principles. Teaching English to young learners, so we are going to study the basic principles that you need to know at the moment of teaching children. So remember that when we have children and they are learning a foreign language, they are learning English or they are learning Portuguese or French, okay? They are learning a foreign language, a language that is not native, okay? Remember that we have L1, which is first language, and we have L2, which is the second language. So in this case, we are studying how to teach children when they are learning a foreign language. So you have to keep in mind that children, they learn faster in comparison to adults. They are more enthusiastic, they have more energy, they are more active, physically speaking, and as learners. And they are more demanding because they demand time, they demand attention, they demand preparation. So you need to be fully prepared at the moment of teaching children. When teaching, we divide the learning or the learners by groups, okay? We have young children, kids between 3 and 12 years old. We have adolescents or teens between 13 and 19. And then we have adults between 20 and or 20 years and older, okay? But remember that we are learning how to teach children. So this is our main objective, young children. So in here we have an activity. So remember that I show you this classification that we have here. We have learners by categories. So we have young children, we have adolescents, and we have adults. So for the next activity, I want you to read each sentence and I want you to classify each sentence in the proper or the correct group. Okay, we have young children, adolescents, and adults. Okay, so here you have to read all this and you will have to put each sentence into a category. Okay, for example, they respond although they do not understand. So if you think that this sentence belongs to young children, you put it into that category. Or if you think that this is better for teens, okay? So I want you to classify each sentence according to each category. So we have all these sentences. Remember that you will find this PDF document in our Google Classroom, so you can take your time and do this exercise because it's pretty cool, okay? Now, here we are going to talk about the characteristics of young learners, the characteristics of children. Children, they are active and they are creative. They like to play. So you have to include games into your lesson plan. Young learners learn through doing. This is something that is very, very important. When you are teaching children, you need to keep them active by doing, okay? It is not about just explaining a class, explaining a topic. No, you have to take them to the doing thing, okay? They like playing, using the hands. discovering. Kids have short attention span. Yeah, when you are planning a class for children, you have to take into consideration the time because their attention, their attention span is really short. So you have to plan your class really carefully, okay? Because, for example, if you have 1 hour class, you need to divide it in opening, development, closing. But you need to make it interesting. You need to make it active, creative. Young learners, they need repetition. Kids, children, young learners need clear directions. Avoid using abstract instructions. Young learners have limited knowledge about the world. So for this reason, they love discovering, they love doing, because they learn something new every single day. So if you want to be a nice English teacher while or when teaching children, you need to remember all these characteristics. Now, in here we classify, we have this classification. So here we are classifying young learners. We have very young learners, are children between 3 and 6 years. Young learners are kids between 7 and 9, and late young learners are children between 10 and 12, okay? This is something that is really important. If you have a group, for example, in my case, I have students from 4 years to 12 years, but you need to divide them. You need to put them into the correct category, okay? Because it is very difficult for you to teach a 3-year-old boy with a 9-year-old, okay? It is impossible because you need to plan, you need to know, first you need to know how can you teach each group, okay? What are the activities? What can they do? Okay, because for example, in the very young learners, they don't know how to read. This is like kindergarten. They don't know how to read, they don't know how to write. They need to develop skills like cutting paper, for example, okay? Young learners, they know how to read, they know how to write, and late young learners, they have the skills developed, okay? So you need to keep all this in mind. You cannot apply again, for example, for late young learners, and you can't apply the same game with a group of children between 3 and 6 years old. It is impossible because they don't belong to the same group. They are children, but you need to learn about the category where they are. Here we have like, this is like, let's say like a comparison. Here you will find very young learners, and late young learners. So you have the characteristics of each group. This is for you to know, okay, where can I place my student? What activities can I use? What games should I use? How can I adapt an activity? Because sometimes we have an activity which is really interesting, but you need to make some adaptations, some changes, because if the students are between 6 and 8 years old, you need to make adaptations, okay? You need to make some changes. It is possible to use one activity for the 3 categories. It is possible, but you need to make some changes according to the age of the student. For example, a common activity that you can use with all of them is when we are studying science, we make experiments, so you can adapt the experiments according to the level. Okay, so well now in here we have, after watching this class, you will have to read unit number 1 from a book that you will find there in Google Classroom. Unit 1, basic principles of teaching of English to young learners. So I want you to read from page 12 to page 17. I want you to read all those pages. I want you to check again. I want you to read again all these class that we have here. And then I want you to prepare a recorded presentation. For your presentation, you can use PowerPoint. So I want you to prepare an oral presentation, and I want you to answer all these questions that you have here. Okay, let's see if you understood. Let's see what is your perception towards teaching your young learners. So, well, I want you to be creative, and I want you to answer all these questions according to the content that we have in this first class and the content from the book, okay? So you can use visuals because it is a PowerPoint presentation, and I want you to record your PowerPoint presentation. If you want to record your PowerPoint presentation, you can use Zoom. You can share your screen and you can record your class, your presentation, sorry, or you can search on YouTube how can you record a presentation in PowerPoint, because there are options, okay? But I want you to send by Google Classroom a PowerPoint presentation recorded. It is recorded because I want to listen to your voice. I want to listen to you explaining all your answers to this, okay? So, well, this is all for today. If you have any questions, you will find there in Google Classroom, you will find this class, this video recorded. Also, you will find the PDF for this class, and you will find the book that we are going to be using along this semester. So if you have any question, please let me know by Google Classroom or by email, okay? So I will be posting instructions later in our Google Classroom. Bye-bye.